You are Locked On NFL, your daily NFL podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Here we are. He's Tony Wiggins. I'm James Rapien. Welcome in to Locked On NFL. And for the first time in quite a while, Tony, we are talking on a Wednesday with football just 24 hours away. Bucks, Cowboys tomorrow night, and then a full weekend slate. I'm ecstatic that the regular season is here.
I'm jacked up, man. I'm ready to go, ready to roll. College got us back into the mood a little bit this weekend, but ain't nothing like the NFL, baby. Nothing like
the NFL. We'll get into some college in that third segment in our NFL draft segment. Plus, we got a Super Bowl prediction. We should, right? It's week one. Who is going to make it to the Super Bowl and more? But tell them who we're presented by today, Tony.
Yeah, the NFL season is about to begin, as James mentioned, tomorrow. And nobody covers it like Locked On Podcast Network. August 30th through September 8th, Locked On's ultimate season preview is taking you through every team and every division with the help of Odyssey's Ross Tucker and Jason Lockenfor. Follow the ultimate season preview 2021 feed on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcast to tune in. Started on the 30th, but it's still going now, so make sure you guys tune in to that. Yeah, James, man, absolutely ready to roll, man, for the NFL season. We're getting off to a bang with the America's team, I guess, is what they refer to themselves as, against the defending champion, Tom Brady, and the Tampa Bay Bucks. So it's going to be awfully fun. This is the time of season where everybody's optimistic, right? And they're all optimistic for different reasons. Some teams, it's Super Bowl or bust. There are a number of teams that have to take that next step. And then there are some teams like the ones that we cover. I'm going to put plural on ones. The ones that we cover that basically want to show that their narrative has changed and that they are no longer in football purgatory. So let's tackle that. Let's talk about all of that stuff. Let's start at the bottom first, since that's what we're used to being. Some of those bottom teams that you believe are going to be exponentially better than they were last year. I'll start with the team that I cover. I think things have changed in Jacksonville, and I really do believe that Trevor Lawrence is going to have this place looking up. It may not show in the record per se, but I think it will show with the way that the team operates and functions on a daily basis.
And that's the tough thing, right? Is like with Jacksonville, or the good thing for Jacksonville, but that's the tough thing, is judging the progress based on something other than wins. Because you're right, it may feel much, much different down there halfway through the season than it did a year ago. And they may only have 2 or 3 wins. It might not be much different record-wise, a difference of a couple wins, but that's a huge difference when you're talking about building. This isn't the year people are expecting the Jaguars to win the division, right? That's just not in the cards, I don't think. Now, you never know. Never say never, I guess. But that's not something I'm predicting. I don't think it's something you're predicting. And that's the tough part. The team I cover in Cincinnati, the Bengals, I think they don't have that luxury anymore. We're not talking about a first-year head coach. We're not talking about a rookie quarterback. We're talking about a young team, but a team that needs to show growth, needs to show progress with wins. Not close losses, wins. And there's pressure that comes with that. And I think that the Bengals, certainly in Cincinnati, maybe not nationally, in Cincinnati, there is pressure on Zach Taylor. There's pressure on that entire unit. And you mentioned Thursday night football. I think there's pressure on the Dallas Cowboys. I think there's pressure on Mike McCarthy. I didn't watch every single Hard Knocks episode, but the ones I did watch, it's like, oh, is Mike McCarthy the guy? And it was always an odd fit in Dallas. I thought he was more of a Midwestern type coach. And now you go to Dallas where it's luxury and flash and Dak Prescott and all these toys. And that's a team, honestly. And I know it's a bad division. I don't really like the Cowboys this year. And I think I might get crushed because we're on a national podcast and I'm talking about that. But look, America's team, you could say it all you want. And maybe Dak is what he was at the start of last year. And defensively, maybe they take a step forward. Certainly upgrade, I think, in coordinators with Dan Quinn. But the Cowboys, I'm kind of low on them. I know some people are bullish, think they might win the division. I wouldn't be shocked if they finished third in that division.
It's very interesting because one of the things I was thinking about when we were talking about those teams that need to come up from the bottom, it's weird. You can really talk about the entire NFC East that way because, I think the most stable team, though, the team that actually has the most reasons when you go across the chalkboard and you start putting checks in boxes. I love the Washington football team's team. I like their identity. I like Ron Rivera. I think he fits. I think the team is built and made in his image. I think defensively, the front seven is wicked. And remember, they made the playoffs last year and actually played well for about 3 quarters against Tampa with a backup, with a young quarterback. So I really do believe that they are the team to beat, but I'm intrigued by Dallas getting Dak back. I'm intrigued by the fact that they're top heavy in terms of their skill positions on offense. They're just, I think they're head and shoulders above everyone else in the division. I'm also intrigued about Sirianni and in Philly because that's a tough town, and he's been quirky enough in his interviews that this thing might work and it might fit, and with the way that they're going to be, and if their lines of scrimmage is healthy, they fix their defensive backfield, they could be a very interesting team. I also look at the G-men, and I'm not a huge Dave Gettleman guy, and because I love Patricia Traynor so much, I want them to do well with Locked On Giants. That's my girl, but I'm intrigued. I don't think Daniel Jones is the answer. But you look up, man, and they got some weapons on that team if everybody can stay healthy. They can get Ingram, Barkley, Galladay, and all of those guys on the same page. The Giants, and they played well defensively at the end of the year last year. They could be one of those sneaky teams, sort of like one of the teams that I'm going to mention later on, that you look up, man, and they're a lot better than you think they are because they're going to be a tough out every week because of the coach.
For sure. And that's where it comes back to, because if you're a well-coached team, I think the reason you're bullish on Washington and the reason I'm buying Washington stock is because of Ron Rivera, right? It's a culture. The culture is the culture. Now, do they have a hell of a defensive line to back up that culture? Absolutely. Do they have guys on the offensive line and a running back that you really like and weapons? Absolutely. I'm not just saying that it's just Ron Rivera. But yeah, Joe Judge, there's a lot to like about him. And the fact that Bill Belichick endorsed him, you talk to Patricia Traynor, and she feels like, at least last time I talked to her, she feels like the Giants have the right guy leading them as far as the head coaching position is concerned. So yeah, could they? Maybe. But then I go back to Daniel Jones. I go back to him tripping over his own feet. I go back to him. Is he going to be a leader? Is he not? I watched the Giants last year. Daniel Jones gets injured, and this was the Joe Burrow-less Bengals. And you really didn't notice a difference. I think it was Colt McCoy who came in for him, and it might not have been. I might be wrong on that, but it's one of these journeyman backups that comes in, and I didn't notice much of a difference. And that to me is bothersome when you talk about evaluating quarterbacks. Trevor Lawrence gets dinged up and doesn't play in the second half of a game. Guess what? Everybody is going to notice that he's not out there. Joe Burrow goes out. Kyler Murray goes out. Like, it doesn't take much. Heck, Zach Wilson, he plays a half for the Jets and isn't playing in that second half for the Jets. I bet you we're going to notice. I bet you there's going to be a difference. So it's one of those things where I like a lot of the infrastructure, from a talent standpoint that they have. But can Daniel Jones be that guy? And he doesn't have to be Peyton Manning. But if he can be that guy, then I do. I agree with you. I think they have the right head coach and some of the right talent.
He's trending to have a Ryan Tannehill in Miami-esque career in New York. If he doesn't get it done this year, he's going to have an opportunity somewhere else. But much like Tannehill is a very good athlete. And for some reason, when I see him, I see Ryan Tannehill in Miami. Wow. And he just didn't do very much while he was there. So I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to talk about some middlings, and then we're going to talk about the elite teams in segment number 2. And I'm going to make a surprise Super Bowl prediction in segment 2.
Oh,
I am. So from some of my, and it's going to affect some of my favorite people too. So the Wiggins jinx is no more. If you think about it, the team I'm going to talk about, they broke the Wiggins jinx last year.
I know who you're talking about.
You should, and don't give it away. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about in segment 2 here on a Wednesday. Locked On NFL with James Rapien and Tony Wiggins.
It's that time of the year, football time, ladies and gentlemen, and that means BetOnline is here and better than ever. It's your number one spot for all things pro and college football. Look, you want to bet on that Thursday night game? We talked about it. Bucks, Cowboys. By the way, I like the Buccaneers in that one. Give me, or I'll give the 7.5 that I saw at betonline.ag. Well, you can bet on it with their opening day super promo where you make a bet on that season opener this Thursday. And if you lose, you're going to be refunded up to $25. That's free money. You can wager for free. It's for new customers only when signing up. And all you got to do is use promo code NFL100. Plus, at BetOnline, you can get all the updated odds, props, and contests, including online's biggest $500,000 NFL mega contest and the world's largest $200,000 NFL Survivor contest. Open now at betonline.ag. You can sign up for free, and when you do and you make that first deposit, use promo code Locked On. You're going to get a 100% welcome bonus. Take advantage of this free money right now. You're going to be watching the games. You might as well make some money while you do it. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts.
All right, rolling along here on a Wednesday with James and Tony on Locked On NFL. We've discussed some teams in the first segment that we thought were needing to prove that they could get themselves out of the cellar. So we're going to talk about some middlings now, teams that were not awful last year, but have a chance to be really, really good this year. I got 2. So I don't know how you want to play this. Do you want me to mention them both, or do you want me to go one at a time, James?
No, mention them both. So then that way I make sure we don't have duplicates. Go ahead.
Right. The Chargers. And I don't know a lot about their coach, but I know a whole lot about their quarterback, and I know about their skill position players. And they finally addressed the offensive line, and they have a number of good players on defense too, with Derwin James coming back. Is there a better combination, front-to-back combination than Derwin James and Joey Bosa? I don't know.
I think Derwin James is the best safety in football when he's healthy. He's a freak.
Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald obviously are probably at the top of that list. Mm-hmm. I think they're a very, very good team, an extremely good team with a very, very good quarterback. I think they're one of the teams that could turn their record from that middle of the road record to really, really take a stab at. I think the Raiders got problems. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's personnel. I think it's the people picking the players.
It's a shot at Gruden. Okay,
it is. I think Denver is still very good, but they have a lot to prove a little bit. I actually do think the Chargers can make some noise and be that team that is just like the ingrown toenail, if you will, and get on the nerves of the Chiefs a little bit because they can score. They can score points and they can defend. And I think they're you look at their matchups with the Chiefs and you go, you know what? There's no reason why they can't hang with them.
Yeah, that's a good point because look, what do they have? They have guys that can get after Mahomes and guys that can make plays in the secondary. And then on the flip side, they have a quarterback that can make plays, and they have guys who can catch passes and be playmakers. And so I agree with you. I think that they will give the Chiefs a challenge. I'm not saying they're as talented, but if Herbert is, a couple steps better than he was last year and just as accurate with that deep ball and with those weapons, you're right. I think they could fill it up. I think they could be a problem for the Chiefs and the rest of that AFC West and really the AFC. Now, I did say you go to and then I go to. I lied. I want to go next just so I make sure you don't take my AFC team since you started with the AFC. I'm going with Double B, Bill Belichick.
That was the other team.
Patriots. Was it? I had a feeling, and I was like, I am not letting Tony get both AFC teams. I have one AFC and one NFC. And I think, and look, we can agree. It's not a big deal. It's not like we said no duplicates. I think the infrastructure is in place. Great coach. Defenders are back. Stephon Gilmore's the question mark. He's going to miss the first 6 weeks, but I still think they're going to be an above average to really good defense with Bill Belichick, getting his guys back after all those COVID opt-outs. On the flip side, Josh McDaniels now gets his guy. I was told weeks ago that Mac Jones and Josh McDaniels, they were almost best friends in their vision of this offense and what Mac Jones could do in it. And so the fact that he's the guy now. And you have a bunch of running backs and you have guys that can get open with that 2 tight end system with Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry, 2 red zone threats like that. I think the receivers are solid, not great, solid. But it's going to be the 2002 Patriots, 2003 Patriots, where the quarterback does his thing. They run the ball a lot. He's throwing 20 to 25 times, but it's efficient. And defense is going to handle its business. So I like the Patriots. Give me 10 to 11 wins, and I think they make the playoffs and really push. I don't think they win the division in the AFC East because that Buffalo Bills team, but I think they really push the Bills in those matchups, and I think they get a win over Miami this weekend to start the season.
Mac Jones is perfect for Josh McDaniels because Mac Jones is not going to trust himself. He's going to trust the system, and he's a system quarterback. That's exactly what they wanted. It ain't about you. It's about us. It's about playing within the system. And to have a quarterback, some people look at that as a detriment, but to have a quarterback do that on a team that wants you to do it is perfect. They want you to trust the system.
That's what Big Ben did in his career to start his career. That's exactly what he was a system quarterback. And there's a lot worse you can be as a rookie than that, especially if you're starting.
You're right. So I'm gonna go to the NFC. I think the team whose record didn't reflect how good they can be. I'm going with the 49ers. I don't care what people say about Jimmy G. I don't care what people say about Jimmy G. Look at his record as a starter. Okay. So people are just going to have to be upset because he's not super elite, but he's solid enough if he's healthy. And that's the biggest question, if he's healthy. But with Nick Bosa coming back defensively, with Nick Bosa and Fred Warner, they're another team with 2 guys at 2 different positions that are probably in the top 5 or top 6 in terms of having a lineman and a back end player. And I call him a back end player because it's a sideline to sideline off the ball linebacker. But lineman plus 1, they're top 5 in the league in terms of defense. So I like their scheme. I think George Kittle is healthy. I think Brandon Ayuk is a budding superstar, and Raheem Mostert, he can just get it. He knows how to play. He's a one-cut runner who just gets up the field really fast. So they do a real good job of designing offense there. And I think this is a league where you're going to need to take advantage of those matchups every single week.
Can I give you one that they were 12-4 last year, but they're not projected to win the division? I don't think a lot of people think they're going to make the playoffs, but I think they're going to be pretty damn good.
I already know you're talking about
the New Orleans Saints.
I knew it. I knew you were talking about because I feel the same way.
Yeah, look, I get it. It's Drew Brees. All right, I get it. It's almost like the Mac Jones type thing. He's going to run the system. You know what you're going to get. Did you watch Drew Brees last year? It's not like he was great when he was out there.
Couldn't throw the ball downfield.
And I think Jameis Winston, absolutely. And I think Jameis Winston is going to bring that dynamic in a dome. I like their defensive line still. I think they'll be able to get after opposing quarterbacks. Their secondary is a question mark. I understand that. But is Alvin Kamara still on that team? Yes. Okay, so they do have their number 1 receiver. I know everyone thinks it's Michael Thomas. They do in Alvin Kamara. I mean, he's a freak. So if he's healthy, you got Callaway, you get Thomas midseason. Sean Payton, much like Bill Belichick, definitely eager to prove that he can win without his future Hall of Famer. I don't know, man. I think that they could win 17-game season. I think they could still get to double digits, 9 wins, 10 wins. I like the Saints. And I think that they're – a few months ago, I might not have said this, but today I think they are underrated going into this season. And I certainly think they're a playoff contender. The
AFC to me is very, very competitive at the top. I don't think it's the Chiefs and everybody else, like a lot of people. There's some really, really good teams. The top 5 or 6 teams in the AFC, at least the top 4, when you talk about probably Tennessee, Baltimore's got some issues at running back. So you talk about Tennessee, Cleveland, Kansas City, and the team that I really, really think is going to raise hell is the Buffalo Bills, and it's because you talk about having an identity. You talk about a team mirroring their coach. You talk about a bunch of guys that it seems like they all woke up and ate the same cereal. They drank the same Similac, ate the same cereal as kids. looked at the same TV shows, and now they're like all of each other's soulmates. It's like the entire team is like one person. And I really think in a league where you're going to have some top-heavy guys bottled up at the very top, give me the toughest, meanest, nastiest, most consistent. I know what I'm getting every single week from Buffalo. Give me that over everyone else. I think the Buffalo Bills are going to not only go to the Super Bowl, I think the Buffalo Bills are going to win the Super Bowl this year.
Against who?
Tampa.
Oh, you're going after my guy Brady.
Yeah, and the reason why is because I really do think that if you're going to beat Brady, you got to chase him, and I think Buffalo can rush the passer this year. That's
fair. No, I mean, they invested in their pass rush. That Rousseau kid apparently looks great and looked great in training camp in the preseason. They had a plethora of pass rushers, so much so they had to trade one instead of cutting them towards the end of the end of preseason there.
And everybody's talking about special quarterbacks. They got one.
I like the Bills a lot. I do. To me, though, and call me crazy, but Patrick Mahomes with that offensive line after he just got pummeled in the Super Bowl, I think that they're motivated, and every team is motivated, right? But that's kind of embarrassing. And you know what it reminds me of? It kind of reminds me of, and I'm a big NBA fan. The Miami Heat beat the San Antonio Spurs. Ray Allen hit this game-winning or game-tying shot in Game 6 when the Spurs had the trophy on the sidelines in 2013. And LeBron, Ray Allen, Dwayne Wade, all those guys, they end up winning the title. The very next year, the Spurs went, turn it on, and just crushed the Heat in the finals.
Right.
I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I do think the Chiefs with that revamped offensive line, they get their way back. They find their way back to the Super Bowl. And it caught me crazy. I think it's going to be a rematch. I do. You look at Tampa, where are they worse? They added Joe Tryon. They kept all 22 starters. Antonio Brown's still there. Giovanni Bernard is another addition and probably the best running back in that backfield, certainly best fit because he's a great pass blocker, great pass catcher. And Tom Brady is as determined as ever, it feels like. So I got Bucks, I got Chiefs, and if I had to pick today, I guess I go Chiefs. Can you imagine a 44-year-old, winning Super Bowl MVP? That's tough. 8 Super Bowls. So I'll take the Chiefs. So I'm really out on a limb here with my picks, Tony. But that's it's tough to go against either of those teams.
It is. It's very tough to go against either one of them. I tell you what, though, in our third segment, which is our draft segment, we got to mention something. Did Alabama actually lose players, or did everybody just go back and become draft eligible? Because everybody looks the same. They still got wide receivers running wide open, running away from each other. They still got a great quarterback who's a little bit undersized, and then they still have all of that defense. So we'll talk about Alabama and their machine in our third and final segment here on Locked On NFL on a Wednesday.
You know how Tom Brady might be still slinging it like he is and playing at such a high level at 44? Everyone talks about the TB12 diet. Maybe he's on the Built Bar plan, which is something I'm on, something I encourage all of our listeners to check out at Built.com because it's the number one protein bar on the planet. You're talking about 9 delicious flavors, the occasional limited time flavor. They're packed with protein, low in sugar, low in carbs, perfect for any diet, whether you're just trying to get a protein punch post-workout, or maybe it's a midday snack and you're on the run, going from the office to home and everything in between. They're perfect for me when I go to practice and cover Bengals practice and then have to come home and record with Tony. Well, guess what? Sometimes I don't have time for lunch. I eat a Built Bar, and they're great. They taste amazing. They're covered in 100% chocolate. I love them, and you will too. So go to Built or BuiltBar.com. Use promo code LOCK15, and you're going to get 15% off your first order. Again, use promo code LOCK15 for 15% off at Built.com.
Hey, man, you want to run your football pool? Everyone wants to be in one, and sometimes they want to run it, but they think it's very difficult. Well, football season is back, and let's make the most of it with a better way to create your custom pool at RunYourPool.com, the premier sports pool hosting service. Run Your Pool makes it ridiculously easy to run a football pool with your friends, family, or office mates. They offer dozens of formats, including Survivor, Pick'em, Squares, Margin, Confidence Pools, 33, and more. Run Your Pool hosts formats for NFL and college football with 1 week games, full season, playoffs, or the Super Bowl. Unlike other fantasy sports platforms, Run Your Pool has options and settings to make it your own. You can customize this thing. You can even brand your pool for local businesses, bar, or restaurant. Reconnect with friends and join nearly 2 million football fans to make every game action-packed this season. Check them out today and get $10 off of your runyourpool.com/lockedon. That's where you need to go, or use our promo code locked on at checkout. Anywhere, everywhere in the world, Run Your Pool helps friends and colleagues compete. The NFL season starts September 9th. Start today at runyourpool.com/locked on and have your pool up and running in minutes. That's runyourpool.com/locked on. Moving right along here in the third and final segment. It's a short and sweet one, as it is always. Looking at some NFL drafts, prospects, and first of all, they're going to have on crimson and white, which they did this weekend. Alabama is just a machine, man. You look at offensively and defensively. Now, when I saw Georgia play, I saw the same type of guys on defense, right? And I saw the same type of guys on offense. But Alabama's offense sets them Bill O'Brien was calling plays like a whiz. That sets them in an entirely different level in terms of the offense is the key. You lose 4 receivers to the NFL draft in 2 years. Don't worry about it. Mechie is still there, and then they got this kid, Jameson Williams, from up where in your parts from Ohio State, because he's similar to the kid that left Georgia and went to FSU that had 2 sacks the other night. He just wasn't going to get enough balls thrown him at Ohio State, so he says, let me go and so that I can play somewhere else, and now he looks like another guy who's a day 1 draft pick. What in the hell, man? They just know how to do it, and they just keep getting these. I talk about dudes eating the same food, drinking the same Similac. Alabama really knows how to develop players and recruit.
They must just give their players, honestly, their recruits. They visit high schools. Nick Saban's passing out Built Bars to everybody. and just making sure that they're on the Built Bar plan, a year or 2 before they get to campus. You're right. I mean, they reload, and it was scary. And look, Georgia, they played well defensively, but they didn't score. Bama can score, and that's the difference. And I think that's the thing that Nick Saban has adjusted well to, because he used to win games that way, right? Where it was the game manager types in college. So they can't do that in the NFL. They're not capable of being a game manager in the NFL or a starting level type quarterback. Now it's explosive. And worst case, you're getting this game manager type quarterback in the pros, right? Where Tua, I think he could be a game manager, right? I think Mac Jones, we just talked about it. But in college, it's just straight money. And so, yeah, they're at it again. Nick Saban looking, what is it, number 7 he's looking for? Number 7 there?
Yeah. Ooh. Bryce Young, too, has a live arm, man, for a dude that's only 6 feet and 190 pounds. Yeah. Kyler Murray is going to make a bunch of kids a lot of money. And in the past, a guy like Bryce Young would be looked beyond. You kind of look past him. Not anymore. The league is going to be built on guys just like Bryce Young. What about Evan Neal, that left tackle? I saw that kid that plays for the Jets a couple of years ago, and I said, I've never seen a dude that big.
Mekhi
Becton. I said, I wanted the Jaguars to take him. I said, I've never seen a dude that big move that easily. Well, guess what? Evan Neal, all 6'7", 350 pounds of him. He did they showed him doing that drill on a 42-inch box set where he jumps up and his legs split. First of all, when he did it, I pulled my hamstring just watching it. I couldn't even do that. And this dude is 6'7", 350 pounds, and just jumping up and doing a split and catching himself in on 2 different boxes. If you didn't see it, there's a box in front and a box behind him, and it's 42 inches, and he goes up and does a vertical and takes 1 foot and puts it out front and the other foot and puts it, and then he jumps down, and then he does it again and again. And I'm like, where did they get this dude from? In the bottom of the ocean somewhere? Where's he come from? Wakanda? That's the most Black Panther stuff I've ever seen in my life. I'm like, where do they make these guys at? And he's just, it's unreal, man. It's unreal. And I don't know what the hell they're doing down there, but they probably are eating a whole bunch of Built Bars because that's what they play.
They must be. It's crazy though, because you're right. I mean, that he did that, and like you said, I was like, ooh, that's scary. Like, ooh, but he's doing it like it's routine. Imagine what he's not doing on camera.
I can't do it. I can't do it without the boxes. If I do that in here right now, I'd hurt myself.
Yeah, It's nuts. And I think I wouldn't be shocked at all. And it's early. But a guy like that, top 5 pick.
Top 5 easy.
Hey, don't be surprised. Don't be surprised.
Easily. I won't be surprised, man. And y'all shouldn't be surprised either if you win some money because you looked at the Locked On Bets podcast with your boy Q and Lee Sterling. Get all of the information that's sponsored by BetOnline. And before you go to BetOnline, listen to the Locked On Bets podcast and subscribe wherever you get your podcast because ain't nothing wrong with a little bit of help if you're going to get some money. Right, James?
No. Get all the help you could get and then go to betonline.ag. Use that promo code Locked On. Boom. Free money, and you get more money.
I love how you're doing that, man. You look like a rapper today, too. I wanted to tell you, you look like a rapper with your
rapper. Uh-oh.
Yeah, you look like a rapper with your gear on, man. I like that, man.
All right.
I like that.
Next week I'll rap for you.
All right. I'm gonna hold you to it now. I'm gonna hold you to it, man. Hey, man, we always enjoy it on here on Wednesday on Locked On NFL. We always tell you when we get ready to leave, make sure you can keep taking care of each other. And we do appreciate you tuning in on Locked On NFL every single day, Monday through Friday, actually, for all of the hosts. For James Rapien and Tony Wiggins, take care of each other, man, and we'll see you on Wednesday.